Hi there, I'm your host, Sreeja Burman, with yet another episode of Reeling Credits, and we're here to appreciate the films we loved. And today, it's all about a 2014 film which was nominated for the Oscars for the Best Picture, besides winning 4 others for Best Production Design, Costume Design, Makeup and Hairstyling, and finally, Best Music Original Score. It is the film, The Grand Budapest Hotel.
6, Igor.
What do you want? Well, hello there, chaps.
Directed and co-written by Wes Anderson, who is known for his distinctive style and his perfectly symmetrical shots. Also, with Robert Yeoman's magical cinematography and Alexandre Desplat's dramatic melody, the film felt like a nostalgic trip to the lush and eccentric world of European aristocracy. The film takes place in the fictional Republic of Zabroka, a mountainous land. It starts off with a young lady visiting a park and gazing at the bust of a beloved author. The story then becomes about the author's experience of a story told by Mr. Mustafa, the owner of the Grand Budapest Hotel, played by F. Murray Abraham.
Well, it begins, as it must, with our mutual friend's predecessor, the beloved original concierge of the Grand Budapest.
Mr. Mustafa deigns to satisfy the writer's curiosity, telling him of his apprenticeship under the hotel's one-time concierge, Mr. Gustav, played by Ralph Fiennes.
Why do you want to be a lobby boy?
Who wouldn't? At the Grand Budapest, sir.
Every shot of this film is very meticulously composed with precise and constricted camera movement. Anderson's distinct style is much more refined in this film than in any other.
He was, like the rest of us, alone, but also, I must say, he was the first that struck one as being deeply and truly lonely, a symptom of my own medical condition as well.
He arrived early this morning.
Monsieur Jean signaled to me and I leaned closer.
I'll tell you a secret.
Zero Mustafa had purchased and famously inhabited some of the most lavish castles and palazzos on the continent.
The hotel promotes a sense of immense nostalgia of the elegant times of the aristocracy through painting-like frames of the film. The film is divided into 3 time periods, which are differentiated visually. Each section is self-contained and paired with a unique color palette. The progression of the story can be seen in the evolution of the color palettes. The color changes in line with the time and the mood of the narrative. The Grand Budapest Hotel is unique, and that is because it is the only film that changes the shape of the frame or the aspect ratio to establish the 4 main time periods in which the film takes place. It begins with the standard 16:9 frame to establish present day in 1985, a visual cue for the rise of the modern widescreen standard that we see today. The film then changes to an anamorphic 2.35:1 widescreen aspect ratio in 1968. This is a visual cue for the cinemascope, a film presentation format which was popularized during the 60s. The majority of the film takes place in the 4:3 aspect ratio to set us back in 1932. Anderson likely chose this frame to make the viewers feel that they were back in the classical cinema era of the 30s. Through these different aspect ratios, the stage is now set for us to jump between timelines, and they allow the older Zero to act as the narrator as he develops the stories between him, Monsieur Gustave, and Agatha.
Is he flirting with you?
Yes.
I approve of this union.
Mr. Gustav schools young Zero Mustafa in the art of understanding what a guest wants and getting it to the guest before the guest has even thought of it. Special care is taken of every other small and intricate detail, like Mr. Gustav's perfume or dépannage. His troubles begin when the wealthiest of his dowagers, played by Tilda Swinton, dies and leaves him a strange painting behind. The dowager's impossibly evil son, played by Adrian Brody, does not want Mr. Gustav to have any of the property. His determination sets into motion a series of events that is complicated by a fascist uprising in the fictional land. The film then becomes a whirlwind of drama, comedy, and action. Anderson is consistent with his visual style, as one can see in his action sequences that refuse the usual digital hocus-pocus in favor of the older, artisanal magic of stop-motion animation and matte paintings. The film fights political tyranny with irony, because in hindsight, a wholehearted laughter can be used as a weapon against heavy political oppression. The film is elegant and definitely a treat for the viewer's eye. If you haven't watched it already, we recommend you take a dive into this immersive and picturesque landscape of Wes Anderson.
You see, there are still faint glimmers of civilization left in this barbaric slaughterhouse that was once known as humanity. Indeed, that's what we provide in our own modest, humble, insignificant